Here we go. So on the left-hand side, we have a screenshot of our workstation setup for backstage when we are doing recordings of dance performances in the metaverse. And you can see here we have a cue sheet, and here in the middle screen we are having heads-up displays and dialogues and talking away with the cast. And on the upper right-hand corner, we have a clean-looking recording going on of the actual show. So this is the backstage view, and this is the stage view. And we are recording as it shows here. On the right-hand side, we're looking at two recordings side by side. The recording on the right-hand side, this one is the clean visual, like this, clean visual. These are both from the same show. And the left-hand side is just an avatar sitting doing nothing, except they were recording the sound, because the stuff that's being recorded in one computer is including the cast sound and the show sound. So we had to have a second computer going on, which looks like this. And again, it gets to be a very interesting challenge. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a recap of Composing in New Realms, Episode 13, Dance, Move, Engineering, Door. In this episode, we re-entered by reflecting that we are now entering performing virtual arts project area for the next territory for the next several weeks. Full rehearsals, recordings of full rehearsals, full performances after that, and follow-up. And you just saw our workstation set up for some of those rehearsals and recordings. That put us off for a few days to being on the stream. We had to come back after a few days, so it was time to jump back on in. And we started something called Music as Engineering, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. So along the way, we did the two full rehearsal dance show recordings, and along the way, we figured out our system for doing what we're calling the tristream double tape. Basically, on the right-hand side, there are three recordings being made. One is pure sound on computer 2. One is pure vision for posting, and the other one is commingled sound and vision for cast review of what's going on in the performances. There's something like 30 people and several, 50 or 100 moving parts going on all at once. So we did that. We also updated our candidate project list because, like we said, when we came back after several days off, we came up with all these further ideas. Music as food, which we already posted something on, music as cloth, and we're working on something right now called music as engineering, which we're going to show you a little bit of. We also are working with one of the people that's doing the visual effects for this show here. And we did a recording of one of their light shows in the metaverse. So we did a vid edit of that, which let me just show you how it opens here. This is not our music, this is show music, but is gonna come. So what we really like, we notice the sync. This is just the intro. Quiet fade in. Is gonna come. And then it takes over from there, and there's a whole light show going on with all kinds of spectacular light effects like that. So we made a recording of that and sent that to our colleague. And then, as we said, we went back to our music, and we're working on an idea that we call music as engineering. And it's kind of like our music as cloth and music as taste or food. and we're just kind of at the beginning of it. But what we're really doing is taking some of our music that we've made up in the past before we began these series, and chord cadences. This is one that we've worked out that we really loved. And then one other one, this one. And the thing we like about these two is now that we've spent some time learning music theory and teaching ourselves extended music theory, these energy stories, depending on whether you think they're in C or A, are different. So this is what we would call a half statence or a resting phrase. But this phrase cannot be correctly analyzed in C. It jumps out. It just jumps out. And where it says question mark here, that means it's using notes you're not allowed to use in C tonality. However, if you look at it in terms of A tonality, it's just fine. So in C, this is rest, and then we don't know what it is. But in A, this is also resting. That's what it's a half state. That's resting, and it's a drifting here, and it kind of pleasantly wanders off. So the same sounds can be looked at in terms of two different energy stories. This is resting, drifting, and coming back to rest. So either it's just a drifting in bounds or a drifting out of bounds. You take your pick. But we love that. Now this one, this is the heart and soul. At least that's one of the ways we've heard this traditional sequence called. Same thing, it can be looked at as C or A, but in this case, it will entirely fit in the C tonality, in which case we're having what we call a half cadence. So the first phrase is all urging, and the second phrase is coming to a rest. If you look at it in A, it's drifting or floating in the first phrase, and then it's also coming to rest here. Same sounds. There's one little trick going on here, though. There's something called, we're calling them transition notes. And something that makes it that note is not allowed in C. So we showed that it's borrowed. Not in C. Sorry. Okay, let's just make sure we get that annotated correctly, because we're going to come back to look at these. So even there, we're kind of getting a difference. You can see why composers wanted to shift and cross over between different tonalities. So we love that. We love that because a transition note, a melody is where you transition between kind of, for us, core notes. Bum, 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 bum. Those are core notes. Bum, ba ba bum, ba ba bum. Da-da. Those da-dats are the transitions, and the transitions make all kind of difference, which a lot of people know that, but we are now studying it. So that concludes today's episode. Our ideas for next time are, we have a couple tech things to test. like more virtual avatars. More on the vid edits. We made the red edit, and now we've got a blue and yellow that we could work on. The music as engineering explorations. And we'd like to meet with the person that did those red visuals. Let's put that up there in the right place. And we will. And brainstorm and compare ideas and things. Shout outs to Silent Lurker. Mr. Spam came by. Mr. Spam's been absent. And then Visuals Explorer. Tune in next time to see what happens. Do take care. Do come back and do keep on streaming.